break and all the holiday hecticness to come out and hear some nature poetry and look at these beautiful images of Bulls Island. So I always like to start with this quote from Salvador Dali: "A true artist is not one who is inspired, but one who inspires others." And through the centuries, artists and writers have drawn inspiration from art itself and one another's work. Think of Degas and the ballet dancers, Picasso's Don Quixote sketches, poet William Carlos Williams' landscape with the fall of Icarus in response to Bruegel's 16th century painting. Well, we decided to take these budding artists and writers and pair them up and take them to one of the most pristine natural places on the East Coast, Bulls Island, 5,000-acre barrier island on the Cape and Maine National Wildlife Refuge. We saw maritime forests, fresh and brackish water impoundments, salt marsh, sandy beaches, boneyard beach where down oaks are weathered and bleached. We saw deer, alligators, raccoons, black foxes, and there were over 294 species of birds. We also saw a lot of butterflies that day. So anyway, they went to the island. It happened to be a very rainy day. We were very waterlogged, but they were amazing sports. They had a partner. They came home and they each decided to respond creatively to the nature they saw in whatever way they wanted. They didn't talk to each other about it. And then a few weeks later, they got together and they showed each other what they did, and then they decided to respond creatively to what was given to them. So they both got to pick something, and then they both had to respond to something. And so we call that ekphrastic art. So anyway, we're just so happy you're here. I'm Beth Webhart. This is Dayton Coley. I'll let him say a few words. These are great kids. We love the 6th grade class, and they've collaborated really well together. So thank you.
Yeah, the 6th graders they're all brilliant. It's fun listening to creative writers, and at the same time, looking at my students' artwork today. And one of the things Beth and I talk about frequently on this trip, we're on the bus, is how that we're both the majors that was, the end result, the product of what the kids do is they all create original intellectual property. So this is one of those things where you're seeing, geniuses at work doing their genius thing, and it's pretty awesome. So we spent the last couple hours with them, and I've just reminded myself, I can actually turn my hearing aid down, so I'm going to turn it back up to normal volume now. And I hope you all enjoy the show.
I decided to do this drawing of the beach because the beach is a very important place in my life. Good evening. My name is Georgia Barber, and I'm a creative writing major. I was partner. My first poem was written in response to Isla's drawing of the boneyard beach, the marsh, and the maritime forest. I hope you enjoy. The rainy beach. Rain drips from heavy clouds, a steady sprinkling of water. Murky gray waves with white caps wash up against the sand with a continuous swell and flow over a weathered log. Wood has been smoothed and bleached by the parching sun and salty ocean water. The wind blows rain into the sand dunes and continues to blow toward the marsh and lush maritime forests. The treetops of the forest sway in the stormy winds, while the birds inside huddle in the trees' warm embrace. The rain blankets the sand, and waves crash onto the shore, the calming soundtrack of the rainy beach. My second poem is the poem I wrote after coming back from Bulls Island. I was inspired by a little pine tree at the edge of the trail and focused on the raininess of the day. Young pine tree. The young pine tree's trunk is skinny and dampened. The tree's roots hold on tightly to the soil, like the spider that clings to its web. Drops of rain hang from its bright green needles and fall silently to the ground. Dull-colored leaves lay unmoving at its base, hiding the wet soil underneath. The tree reaches up, trying to find sunlight to grow, but the cloudy sky denies this request, and the tree simply sits there, listening to the soft sounds of dripping rain.
I did this drawing based on a poem I received. The poem made me think about how small things can mean so much in the world.
Hello, my name is Cadence Thurman. I chose to draw a live oak, for I personally thought this tree's history was great and marvelous. And I like that compliment.
Good evening. My name is Naya Hartman, and I'm partnered with Cadence for our Bulls Island projects. Today I will read a poem based on Cadence's drawing of a live oak tree on the island. I hope you like it. The live oak, towering above the wildlife below. Fine twisting cracks cover its surface. The rough and damp bark, aged by the fierce storms and all its years alive. Bright green leaves sway in the breeze, they rustle upon the dark brown branches, hanging on tight as the cold rain splatters across them. Curly Spanish moss wraps around its limbs, the tangled strings soft and velvety, brushing against the ground as its arms stretch across the land. Curving every which way, this magnificent tree, a vivid work of art, its roots planted firmly in the soil, settled for life. For my second piece, I wrote a poem describing an alligator hiding in the marshes waters. I focused on the alligator's features while also incorporating a bit of description on its surroundings. Thank you and enjoy. The alligator, a great beast of the marshlands, concealed beneath the algae-covered waters, spindly grass stalks swaying above its head, sharp as glinting knives in the sunlight. Scaly green armor covers its cracked body, like dried cement. Dull spikes peek through the water, shielding its hidden back. Glossy black eyes stare sneakily up, willing you to draw nearer. Its sticky yellow lips peel back, revealing sharp white daggers. As you step closer, nearing the edge of the bank, the creature claws its way onto the grass, and hot breath warms your ankles. Cold, wet teeth softly grasp your leg, then sharply clamp down. Thank you.
So this is my second piece. Although it is upside down, I was inspired by the fact of the alligator biting the person's leg, that I would think later on maybe the person would faint, or maybe they would die out of the alligator biting his leg.
Hi, my name is Mei Chu, and for my first drawing, I chose the first thing we saw at Bulls Island. I chose it because it had many elements of nature. It had water, trees, rocks, and man-made structure.
Hello, my name is Leo, and today I'll present my two poems about Bulls Island. My first one is a poem inspired by a drawing she did after she got back from Bulls Island. The beauty below and above. The sky is lined with white and puffy clouds, almost like cotton balls. The sky, as blue as the water below. the turquoise waves splashing against the small gray pebbles of the shore. The gradient of the marsh water fights with the dark blue sky. The marsh grass sticking high above the water, the tall green trees protruding through the sky like knives. The trees almost like a wallpaper for the swamp. The dark brown dot cutting into the water like an infection creeping into the nature. The sun shines down onto the water, illuminating the previously dark marsh. But when the moon creeps over the horizon, the swamp is dark once again. For my second Bowles Island, I wrote when I got back from Bowles Island. It is about a live oak tree we saw when we were wandering the path. I hope you enjoy it. The lively oak, one of the strongest of trees, towering above all, a mother to the nature, home of all prospering life. Along it grows lichen, with faint shadows of gray. The tree is strong, worthy of its position, its branches growing differently in all directions. Small traces of fungi lining the tree. Its roots spread deep into the ground and connect all across the island. The bark is dark and rotting, the tree is still prospering with life. It is a symbol of resistance. It's gone through the coldest of storms, the hottest of droughts, and yet it still remains a lively one.
I chose to draw a big oak tree because in the poem it describes like the oak tree being a mother to nature and very strong.
Hi, my name is Elsa. I chose to draw the butterfly because I loved how the colors brought the butterfly to life.
Hello, my name is Diana Jenner Allen, and this poem is inspired by my partner's drawing of the butterfly. I decided to focus on what the butterfly wanted and what its feelings were. Thank you. The butterfly. The butterfly sits peacefully on a leaf, soaking in the marvel of the students observing, but getting bored, because all it can do is wait and sit still. It spreads its wings, revealing more of the orange color with black outlines and little speckles of white. The plant it calls home is a mix of greens, bright and dark, contrasting the orange of the butterfly. It likes the plant, for it cannot remember a life before, but the butterfly has been sitting in the same spot for far too long. It wants to fly away. It is blocked by a shield of people, their faces and phone screens covered just inches over it. It hears the click of a camera and the footsteps of students as it watches other creatures move freely across the island. It watches the students get back on the boat and disappear, becoming small dots drifting along the water. After many days, maybe even weeks, once the students have left and its bright orange wings are rain-soaked and droopy, once everybody is forgotten, it will finally fly away when nobody cares anymore. My second poem is inspired by a live oak tree that I saw. I wanted to talk about what the tree has witnessed in its long life. This is my poem. The live oak. The tall, wide live oak sits peacefully, as if it has not witnessed the worst of storms, carrying its long arms off with little effort. It has seen even the fiercest animals, alligators and snakes, reach the end of their life. Its rough skin, dull and peeling from all these years, passes paints of all kinds. The lichen is scattered with paint, giving it a fleshy color. Bright pink like bubblegum, or green like the alligators it watches over. Spanish moss and bright green ferns dangle like necklaces from its long limbs. This tree has stood for hundreds of years, yet it still stands strong.
I chose to draw a snake and alligator walking around the tree because when I read the poem, it said the tree had encountered animals like snakes and alligators.
Hi everyone, my name is Sora Littleflower and I chose to draw the house because it showed the contrast between humankind and nature and how they can coexist peacefully.
Good evening. My name is Alston Canals, and I am part of this store presenting our Bulls Island poems and artwork. The first poem I will read is a poem that is a response to Sora's painting of the Dominic House on the island. I hope you know it. The Dominic House. The wooden light blue panels stay strong and sturdy through rain and wind. Water can weather it, and the sun can bleach it, and everything can happen, but it endures. Trees and plants surround it, guarding it, protecting it. A darkness inside the windows, hollow and empty. And sometimes it is full of life and joy. People visit and see this beautiful house. 100 years ago, this was just wood, but now it's much more. With the sun, a bleak glow shines through the glass, and sometimes the sky is gray and there is nothing. The next poem I will read is a poem I wrote myself about a big oak tree we saw. When I came back home, I looked at some of the pictures and really focused on the tree's surroundings. I hope you know. The live oak. This giant tree sitting in front of me. Its roots burrowing in, shooting out the trunk of the tree. Branches hang low, with moss swallowing them, and the roots surrounding it like a little army. The wood aged and faded. It has sat there for hundreds of years. Black little buds twitching in the grass, climbing up the tower board. Home to lichen and moss, countless. Yet all you can see, from the distance, is just the wood, exploding with light, and all the little things matter. Thank you.
In the poem, it talked about the many animals and bugs. So I decided to draw a squirrel living in the tree, bugs climbing in the grass and up the trunk, and a bird in the top of the tree, nesting.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellie Allen, and the thing that made me want to choose this photo to draw was the butterfly starting lichens and how the orange of the butterfly contrasts with the green on the plants in the background. It really makes your eyes like drawn to the butterfly.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alexis Longo, and I'm in the creative writing department here at SOA. Tonight, I'll be sharing my poems from our Bulls Island trip. Ellie's artwork inspired me not only because of its beauty, but because of the sheer amount of vibrance and color in its wings. And based off of her drawing, I wrote this in response. Fluttering in the maritime forest, you'll find a butterfly, a monarch, drifting in the shadows. The bleak clouds highlight its wings, the color of a setting sun. The sanctuary of green surrounds a field of life, a home. But then the butterfly begins to flutter, then it flies away in search of something greater. The poem I wrote after returning from our trip is based off of the oak arch we walked under entering the island, and I was inspired by how it looked natural and unnatural at the same time. Here it is, the oak arch. An arch, crafted by the trees, the emblem of life. There goes the vines, wrapping around the bark, as the ferns brush against the giant arch. The shadows and the lights, they shade the arch, brown and green and black. Like a painting, where the artist keeps changing the colors. The leaves stand and sway proud as the Spanish moss lingers below, still looming over the passerbys. The oaks twist and turn all around to keep shaping the arch. And the people will walk under and look up to the sky so that they see the magnificent arch, crafted by nature's own two hands, and they are forever grateful.
My second
drawing was based on my partner Alexis's poem, and props to her because her poem was very good and inspired for my picture, and yeah, that's it for me.
My name is Clara Klostermeyer, and for my first Bulls Island drawing, Bulls Island inspired me to make a drawing of two trees that form an arch because I think that it represented Bulls Island very well.
Clara's artwork contains the exact arch in my other poem, but instead of focusing on that, I tried to focus on the pathway we trailed on after I realized its true importance. Here it is. At first, it's just dirt, just a pathway in the forest, but as you walk on, as you trail past, it becomes something bigger. Not a path, not another navigational tool. It's much more. It's beauty. And it's in the form of a trail in the woods, bearing the carvings of all the shoes in it. It's nature and nothing less. For my fourth and final poem, after I returned from Bulls Island, I wrote about the amazing Bowen Beach. Here it is. The wispy waters of the beach lap on your feet, cold but soft. The wind whispers in your ears as you dig your feet in the sand, so warm. The sun's glare is a bright one that embraces the area like a warm hug. The waves echo in your ear as they roll in the shore. Joy. Alexis's poem made me think of a person in the shallows of the ocean, walking around with just their feet in the water, which led me to make
My name's Kyra. I decided to draw this tree because I was inspired by the surroundings of life and the moss that hung from this tree.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sylvia Lucas, and today I'll be reading 4 poems. The first one was in response to Kaya drawing this wonderful picture of the live oak tree that our guide showed us. Thank you. Enjoy. The tree. Spanish moss creeps out, encompassing the old tree, wrapping its arms around the bark, caressing its rough skin. The lichen embraces the scratchy surface, splashes of color, pink and green, turning the tree into something beautiful, covering the scars from countless hurricanes that plagued the island. The tree held on, nourished the plants, found comfort in its branches, it gave it purpose. This next poem here was because when our guide was showing us about the Sly Lake tree, it inspired me because it had survived Hurricane Hugo, which, as a lot of you know, had destroyed a lot of wildlife around South Carolina, and it survived when a lot of other plants and stuff on Bulls Island did. Thank you. The old oak tree. The old oak tree sits alone, thick limbs stretching to the sky. Except for one, a gaping hole where once was thriving life. An ecosystem of roots and fungus anchored the tree into the fertile soil, cemented into the ground, unmoved by wind and water. Straight-backed and tall, its weathered bark bears scars to slice into its flesh, leaving unhealable marks. The oak stands strong throughout it all. It is with thunder and lightning, a raging storm, it will not break.
poem I was given, because I want to show you how earth can decay, but it will stay strong. I also added the tree in a box to show how there will be emptiness even with life.
My first drawing, the last butterfly, was inspired by the nature of the island and the elegancy of the monarch butterfly sitting peacefully on its blade of grass.
Okay, so hi again. My next poem was in response to Karina drawing a pretty picture of a butterfly. Thank you. A butterfly. The butterfly on water. Red, orange, white, black. Circles and stripes adorn it. Crouched on the blades of green and brown grass. Antennae twitching as it lifts with the noise of the marsh. Wings fluttering as it lifts off, soaring over the land. Noting the animals, sly alligators, the long-necked heron, the chirping of the wren, small and brown. White circles on its wings, eyes in the dark, still in fear to the hearts of predators, looking for a snack. But throughout it all, the monarch survives. This last poem here is inspired by a lone log on the sandy beach of Bulls Island, which we stopped to have lunch on. It inspired me because it looked like it had gone all the way from Boneyard Beach, which is kind of like right here, and the beach lodge is like down here. So it made quite a journey. Thank you. A lone log. A lone log lying on its side, the waves battering endlessly. The comforting scent of cedar that exuded from it now gone, destroyed its age. The log's bark peeled away, bearing it to the harsh elements. Its bleached white surface giving way to a stained brown, from sand, water, wind. Tide pools built around its dent in the sand. Hermit crabs crawling around, making homes. Making a life, all things for the lone log. Other driftwood washes by, searching, seeking for companionship. Just so lonely.
This drawing, The Melting Sands, was inspired by the persistence of memory and the words of the poem as they move across the paper. I drew this piece because it looked like an endless hallway with mysteries to be untold.
Hello, and happy holidays. My name is Sam Mason, and I'm partnered with Dylan. I wrote this next piece in response to Dylan's brilliant painting about an island path and the ominous-looking forest in front of it. Thank you, and enjoy. You walk through the island, on a path. The path to an idea. Set, common, walked on before, blue sky and greener grass. And you have your idea, until, like the forest around you, you grow, embarrassed. Until the path isn't followed, walked away from, until you step, unknowingly, into the forest, the wood of doubt. The longer you feel it, the further you walk, the darker it gets. It covers you until it is the only thing you can experience, the only thing you can touch, smell, feel, taste, hear. You are surrounded until the feeling is too much to bear. It has grown too deep, too far into you. Then, finally, your idea, untold for a long time, is revealed. You see light, but not at the end of the tunnel. The forest, but the way the breeze of relief pushes the leaves of fear away until you see the light from above. Thank you. The second poem I would like to read is about an eagle I this image, and I felt the two things were actually quite similar in terms of their actions and how they are affected by the surroundings. Thank you. I am transfixed as the eagle grips the lookout tower's spire like a soldier to a letter from home. Its knowledge immense, like the many outward groves. A gust of wind hits the base of the tower. The eagle, pushed by the breeze, finds its flight into the air. For a second, it glides, easily, in a cloudless sky.
I took the eagle in the watchtower and put it on a piece of this. Sorry. I took this eagle and watchtower and put it on this amazing piece of paper, and yeah.
I did this, the butterfly, because I saw how it stood out from the rest of the grass and it was very vibrant.
I wrote this next piece in response to Laura's incredible painting of a monarch butterfly on a blade of grass immersed in the other blades of grass surrounding it. On a blade of grass, vibrant green, lies a butterfly, in between flights, exhausted yet fulfilled. For it has been nurturing life, minuscule blossoms, its livelihood, hoping to last. It lies, easily, while it observes a wriggling worm, a drop of rain, the wind rustling the leaves, making sounds like rippling waves. My second piece, in partnership with Laura, is about the marsh and how it looked in the seemingly early morning on our way to Bull's Island. Thank you. The sun, hidden, staying behind the clouds. Creek, serene. No reds leaping, and there are no gulls swooping. The sun fights through the thick of clouds, shining down on the grasses, anchored in puddles.
I chose to draw this because I was inspired by my partner's poem, The Marsh, and this is.
Hello, my name is Ari, and I chose to draw the live oak tree because it's very interesting and pretty complicated, which I like.
Good evening. My name is Claire Michael. The first poem I will read is in response to Ari's drawing of a live oak tree that we saw on Bull's Island. I was inspired by the tree and how it stood out from the rest of the drawing. I hope you enjoy it. The live oak is a hero. It wears a gray cape of moss, fluttering behind it in the fresh breeze. It boldly strikes forward, while others stay back, curving, dodging every pounding blast thrown at it. Disguised in a world of musty, damp brown wood, cracked and ordinary. The next poem I'm going to read is a poem about a sunflower. I was inspired by the many beautiful flowers on Bull's Island. Oh, sunflower, hold on to your fragile yellow petals, for they are what make you sparkle in the sunlight. Sunflower, listen always to the buzz of the bees. They will carry your pollen. Alas, your green stalk stands tall and strong. Do not let the wind blow it over. You have a simple beauty, sunflower, easily seen. Oh, and one last thing. Never, ever let anything make you wilt.
Hello again, and I chose this poem to draw out because I like the message of never letting anything stop you, being contrasted to the flowers.
Hello, my name is Taya Lang. I drew this piece because I loved how the red and green contrast each other and how the bench is different compared to the leaves.
I was inspired to write the poem I will read now by Taya's drawing of a red bench in the middle of the forest because of the contrast of the red wood of the bench with the green and brown woods. I hope you enjoy it. A little red bench, speckled with dirt, yellow grass creeping up its damp wood, evergreens towering above, beside the green bushes. So surrounded, yet so alone. The second poem I'm going to read is an extended metaphor poem where I compare stormy weather I saw on Bulls Island to a snake. The snake is the lightning that slithers through the sky. It rustles the leaves, vicious yet shy. The snake is the lightning with glinting white fangs. It bruises its prey with silence, then a bang. The snake is the lightning, hissing and pale bold, its tongue flicking, darting electric and bold.
Next, for my second piece, I recognized how Claire made the snake stand out just as much as the powerful lightning. How it had the bold colors of the snake and how it was more bright than the lightning.
Hi, my name is Elsa Vandersee, and I made this piece because it is different from what others did, and I love the layered landscape and how the palm tree stood alone.
Hello, my name is Ruthie Rennie, and I am pleased to present to you my Bulls Island poems. The first poem I will be reading is one I based off of the painting by brilliant artist and friend Elsa Vandersee. I wrote this poem about the lone palm tree in the background that is quite far away from all of the other trees. I wrote about why it is so alone and how it feels about that, while comparing it to a human's emotions. I hope you enjoy. Palm tree. The palm tree stands alone, should be at arm's length from all the others. Is it shy, or could it be an indication of independence? The stench of the puff mud seems unbearable, but you will get used to it. The palm tree. The symbol of triumph, victory, peace, and eternal life. The rough outer core protects it from the hard truth of the world. Eternal life. Could that be because it was the sole survivor of the thunderstorms, whilst the others crashed dramatically under the weight of the wind? But loneliness is the consequence of survival. Next is my poem that I wrote about a majestic each other while also looking at sacrifice and the dark secrets of a beautiful forest. Enjoy. The bald eagle. Yellow eyes spanning his territory, stalking his prey from a watchtower, hoping to feed his growing family that lies 2 floors below him. Mated for life, he slowly turns his head to steal a quick glance at his forever partner. Her chestnut-colored wings match his, her cream face a more velvet duplicate. She's the evergreen air he breathes, the tree bark that brushes against his wings. He gracefully swoops down, his soft feathers catch the wind as he dives down to puncture an unknown squirrel. Its fluffy tail gone still, beady eyes cloudy, white chest now with streams of red, dripping on the ground below. A noble sacrifice forced upon him. Thank you for your time.
This is my response to my partner Ruthie's amazing poem. I tried to capture everything she described and really use bright, bold colors to make the scene pop.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Chubb, and I decided to draw a live oak because when we went on the field trip, it was a very gray day, but the tree was so full of greenery and ferns, so that's why I liked it, how it stood out from the gray sky.
Good evening. My name is Mariana Rodriguez, and I'm presenting my Bulls Island poem, Reacting to Charlotte's Art. This poem is about the southern live oak tree that was a big part of Bulls Island. I was inspired by the simple beauty conveyed through the art. Thank you. The southern live oak tree. The tree stands tall, limbs outstretched, like it's looking for something. Spanish moss cascades from the branches, like an ashy gray waterfall, with its leaves draping delicately from the branches, showcasing their array of colors, green and brown. The tree stands the center of attention, with its beauty and story, enduring the test of time. In this second poem, I chose to write about a seagull on a post I spotted on the boat. I was inspired by its independence and how it looked so important. I hope you like it. The seagull, watching over the murky waters, like a knight protecting the castle. Its white belly with ruffled gray feathers and piercing black eyes, intently observing the water, perched so still on the pole, never flinching. Then it moves on, leaving its powerful presence, taking off, wings spread, gracefully soaring into the gray sky.
I chose to draw not only the seagull, but the castle because when I first read the poem, I thought that it really changed the perspective of how the seagull wanted its prey, when it said that the seagull was a knight protecting its castle.
Hello, my name is Zoe Wheeler. For my first drawing, I chose a millipede to draw because while we were on our Bulls Island field trip, the tour guide was holding a millipede. I asked if it would bite her, but she said it only releases a poison juice instead of biting. 2 seconds later, it started releasing its toxins on her, and she quickly threw it across the marsh.
Hi, this is my poem reacting to Zoe's drawing about a millipede the guide spotted on the trail. I wanted to highlight how the millipede looked and how it might feel based on this beautiful piece. The millipede. It gets taken from its grassy hiding place, the comforting scent of dirt, gone, pulled up by a hand. It explores, squirming its slim gray body from the hand to the slender arm. It seems trapped though. Pairs of eyes stare at this tiny animal. It feels the vibration of noise, but it's all too much. So it defines limits, releasing a toxin from its segmented body, an almond-like smell wafting into the cool breeze. The human finally puts it down gently, back into the lush greenery, where it finally feels at home.
arms stretched out, brushing the soil. So serene. But it now has an empty spot where the hurricane stole a part of the oak. On the right of the tree, where there was once a branch, a piece of itself, lost. The tree mourns the loss, never able to get back the branch. It is too late. But the tree has survived. It still has a branch collar, shades of gray with specks of bronze, a beautiful reminder.
My second piece was about a tree missing a branch due to a storm. I drew the tree and added some extra color. Thank you.
Hi y'all, I'm Lashonda. No, because you better know me as Louie. So why I chose this was because the trees contrast against the sky, and I wanted to challenge with the leaves, or if that's not what you call them, the things that stick out from it. So, yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Lyndon Smith. The first poem I will read is in response to Louie's amazing drawing of a group of palmetto trees surrounded by a few bushes in a storm. I decided to focus on describing the scene using alliteration. I hope you enjoy it. Storm. 4 powerful palmetto trees, 3 short, 1 tall, looming over the luscious greenery, above the black abyss. The serene sky fills with the sound of rain. A dingy cloud drags across the landscape. 2 beautiful bushes, both big and bulbous, rustle in the rushing wind, swathed in the strong storm. All nature hopes with all its heart that the pounding downpour will end. My second poem is about an alligator I observed in the marsh on our field trip. My main focus was on the description of said alligator and the environment around it using crisp and concrete imagery. I hope you enjoy. Alligator in the marsh. A dark green shape waiting below, hiding in the long green marsh grass that sprouts from the dingy water. Stunning yellow eyes, rounded bumpy snout, dull tinted white teeth. Still as a planted stump, quiet like an empty room, submerged except for a head. Guarding like a sentry, its most precious possession. Smooth, white, fragile eggs.
Unfortunate news, Lashonda is retired, but I'm here again. So for the alligator, I followed along with the description a lot, especially with the eyes. I tried to make them as yellow as I could. And I like the idea of it like lurking in the marsh grass because I feel like it's just kind of hidden there. And the eggs were also a cool touch with the little one breaking open.
Hi, my name is Lily Zell, and for my first drawing, I chose the picture I was most drawn to. I felt like it was cool to draw the branches and leaves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trenton Bissell, and I'm with Lily Zell. The first poem I will read today is called Reflection. Lily drew a piece of oak, and it includes water, shaping trees, and a dark nearby. I decided to focus on the oak tree's reflection on the water. I hope you enjoy it. Reflection. In the pale blue mulch, large green trees tower above. Overlooking the scene, a whispering fog that quietly gossips, and a long gray dark that stretches back for miles. On this blue mulch, a reflection lies, of a live oak tree, quietly being blurred and cleared back again from the ripples of tadpoles from the movement of flies, but is tall and sturdy. Pine needles comfort the roots, along with skittish insects that find their way home. And maybe a daring osprey waits to swoop down from above to perch silently on the closest branch to see the wonderful view of life and its beauty. The second poem I will be reading about is Spanish moss. We saw it multiple times in our field trip. I was inspired to write about it because it is such a beautiful piece of nature. Thank you. Spanish moss. It drapes its quiet weight onto the oak tree, rising up towards the sky at some moments. When the wind is right, it can tour as well, but sometimes it falls back down to hang. But if the music is on and the wind is still here, it can dance. The gray bottom of the moss can stretch towards you, compelled by the wind, and may nimbly move. In an agile way, as it spins at the tips, forever until the wind has slowed, until the music dies down, until it stops for its gracious bow.
For this drawing, I felt inspired by my partner Chen Visu writing about the moss dancing, so I decided it would be interesting if I took that literally and drew dancing moss.
Hi, my name is Eliza, and I was inspired to draw the live oak because of how beautiful it looked and the way it stood out in the cloudy and dark weather.
Hello, my name is Julian Weiss, and I am working with Eliza. I will present a poem that is based on her drawing of a live oak tree with Spanish moss hanging on it. I hope you enjoy the poem. The live oak. Atop a grassy hill lies a live oak tree aged by various storms. The strong limbs of the tree stretch out in many directions, with Spanish moss strung amongst its branches, and different forms of lichen encroach onto the tree's surface. Its roots are buried deep into the wet soil, keeping them safe from storms. Its strong and sturdy trunk protects it from being uprooted. The bark is a dark brown, rough from years of wind. The tree can't move, so it stays still, trapped in an endless cycle, as it watches the sun set and the birds fly. It has seen everything there is to see on the island, even the toughest of animals fade with time. The storms keep coming and the days keep passing, but the tree remains in place, enduring all of time. The next poem I wrote about, funnily enough, the exact same live oak tree. I also included a lot of detail about what the weather was like on the island when we first got there. I hope you enjoyed the poem. The island. The island is cold, gales of wind piercing through the open air. The leaves shake as rain falls down, consuming the grassy fields with frost-bitten air. The air smells of beach plants and herbs and a salty breeze that comforts and envelops the island. My hands are wet, my shoes waterlogged, as a warm light cascades down the trees, shining in its brilliance. The grass is vibrant and smooth, reflecting the sun's light. And a single live oak tree stands alone in serenity. It has braved storms, it can survive the cold, and it sustains various forms of plant life that grow upon its rigid branches.
In my second piece, I was inspired by the poem Using the Live Oak on a Dark and Rainy Day. That helped me picture what the poem was all about.
Hey, my name is Joyce. My first piece I drew was my name engraved in the sand. I thought it was really fun and interesting to draw. Hi, my name is Avery Wilhelm. I am presenting my Bowles Island poetry. My first poem is based on Joyce's drawing
drawing of her name written on the beach. I was inspired by this poem because her take on the nature of Bulls Island was so unique. I am focusing on Joyce writing her message, then admiring the landscape. I hope you like it. Nature's arts. Cold water laps at my knees as I kneel on the shore, stick in one hand, drawing a masterpiece, the other balancing me on the cool, wet sand. I etch my message into the grainy earth with a long piece of driftwood, smooth and damp, carving letters into words. I can hear birds off in the distance, singing from the branches of their homes, projecting each and every note, their voices mixing like a choir. My eyes are drawn up from my work as they roll across the lush green forest, dense with leaves and flowers, soaking in the wonder of it all. A cold splash of water on my ankles sends me back into reality and away from the paradise of nature, wild and free. My second poem is about dolphins I saw on the boat ride back to the dock. Looking through my pictures, I thought about how happy the dolphins made me and connected it to times I could use that joy. I hope you enjoy. Marsh dolphins. Dolphins dance on the water, jumping and splashing like two children on a perfect summer day. Their fins pop in and out of the winding river. A head surfaces, smiling joyfully. The dolphins swim nearer to the boat. The closer they get, the more their cheerfulness leaks into me. As the boat speeds away, I still gaze at the dolphins, not a care in the world, eternally happy. I wish I could not worry, not care about the things that keep me up at night, my thoughts consumed by fear. Fear of what I've done, fear of what I haven't, fear of random things that never bother me in the morning. Thank you.
My second piece is referring to Avery's poem. I really love her poem, and it was really unique how she wrote about dolphins.
Thank you so much for being here. We do have cookies, holiday cookies and refreshments in the lobby. We hope you'll enjoy.
We'd like to thank you guys for sharing your wonderful humans and their human experiences and their human words and their human visions, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday.
Ha ha ha.